Qapla YouTube, it's Wednesday, August 14th, 2019, and welcome to our Star Trek Deep Space Nine live review / rewatch / commentary of Season 1, Episode 13 on Netflix, Episode 14 for everyone else, The Storyteller. Thomas Potts is first. Thomas Potts, it's been a long time. Well, it's been a long time since you've been first on a Deep Space Nine stream. So welcome back, Thomas. Rambling Canuck says hello, bird and all. Welcome, Rambling Canuck. And Ector says hi. Welcome, Ector. Now let me get my tablet going so I can follow along with everything else that's going on. And Thomas Potts just put in a $1.99 super chat. Thank you so much, Thomas. It's only fracking Monday. Thomas, earlier you said it was Sunday. And John Araki says Qapla, John Araki. And yes, remember to switch on over to live chat from top chat, as Mamo Prey reminds us all. And I have to do myself. Get the tablet going. Live chat. There we are. Josh Strait says, first to say, down with Kuroga. And Thomas Potts says, I don't like this episode. Well, Thomas, I'll grant you it is not the best Deep Space Nine has to offer. In fact, it's not the best the first season has to offer. However, it is very much a first season Star Trek episode, and we need to take that into account. Okay, as first season episodes go, it is above average, as most Deep Space Nine episodes are above average compared to season 1 of TNG and season 1 of Voyager, season 1 of Discovery. I mean, that just brings down the class average. It's like averaging a 0 in to the class average. It really brings down the average. But Discovery Jesus, I said it. But Deep Space Nine and to a point Enterprise, their first seasons weren't terrible. Certainly better. And TOS doesn't count because first season of TOS was probably one of its best. Except they did have a few episodes at the very beginning where they still hadn't figured out what they were doing. Cinnabon Bunny says hello. Welcome, Cinnabon Bunny. Chief Cook says hi. Ector says Thomas lived in a time compressed field. I'm not surprised. I am not surprised. John Araki says free Apu. Hashtag free Apu. John Araki has hashtag stay sassy. Kronos says today isn't Monday, bird. No, it's not Monday, but to Thomas it was. Actor says it's Miércoles. Miércoles? Yes. You know that word? It's Wednesday in Spanish. It's Wednesday in Espanol. I thought it meant miracles in Swahili. Kronos says, oh crap, the Storyteller unsubbing. Kronos, we have to go through every episode, even if it's Move Along Home. We have to do it. Anti-Trekker, welcome Anti-Trekker, says Kuroga is going down. We have been construction of the first of our mighty warships, the TRD Goliath. I thought you said you've completed the Goliath. Earlier today you said the Goliath was complete. Now you're saying you're beginning construction. It sounds like Turkestan Propaganda Department doesn't even know what the hell it's putting out. Let's just say, Anti-Trekker, I'm pretty sure my bird of prey, giant, humongous, the biggest, the most bigly bird of prey you have ever seen, which is in orbit of the planet, will make short work of any Turkestani warships you guys ever built. I have complete faith. I have complete faith in that bird. John Street says, hi, Kronos. How is Edgar in a moth suit? Okay. Kronos says, Qapla, Qapla, Kronos. It's okay, even though you were unsubbing. And Kronos goes, grrr. Yosef says, hi, Joe, Mamo Pray, Sassy, and the QWERTY community. Welcome, Yosef. John Street says, Thomas, what is going on with 3 officers being shot in North Philly? I did not hear that. That's sad. Actor says, how can Kuroga go down? It's already at the bottom of the barrel. No, Actor. No, that's not true. Chrono says hello to Mamo Pray. Chief Cook says, no moving on home. We did that already, Chief Cook. It's already in the past. It's not coming back. Anti-Trigger says, no, dummy. We finished the design today. Joseph Patrick with a €2 super chat says, talk and take my money. Sent you a PM on Discord. Well, thank you so much, Joseph. Let's go check the Discord. I did have it closed, but we haven't started yet, so we will start. So if people want to follow along, I do suggest you get your Netflix or your whatever you're going to watch it on ready, and okay, Joseph, I will write back to you after the stream. However, just to be clear, I did conquer that level in question, and I uploaded the video today. My Rocket Arama did conquer that level in Besiege, but if you want the file, I've never heard of that file, but I will find a way to get it and send it to you. I've just never sent Besiege files before. But I'm a smart guy, contrary to popular belief. I will figure out how to get it. Cinnabon Bunny says, Bird of Prey. I saw your Bird of Prey. Very cool. Thank you, Cinnabon. Mamo Prey 5 says, greetings all. And Chief Cook says, Bird, crush and burn. I assume you mean crash and burn. Why would you say these things? Thomas says, Josh Street. I don't live in that hellhole, Philly. And they took us to Cinnabon. You think that Bop can take out the Goliath? Kronos says, Joe, you said you would start your Jaloja at 5:45. It's not even close to 5:45. Did I say 5:45? I thought I said 5. Like 5-ish. Multi-Gunman says, hey, Bird, how's it going? It's going good, Multi-Gunman. And thank you. I know you asked me that in one of my comments earlier today. I didn't get a chance to respond to it because I was multitasking, doing 3 other things. But I'm glad you're here today, Multi-Gunman. I'm doing well. Kronos says, that's another unsubbing. What happened now, Kronos? Josh Street says, Bird of Prey, Anti-Trigger finished it and now took it from the single player to the server. Still doesn't seem very consistent. Thomas's Anti-Trigger official construction has started. Cinnabon, Anti-Trigger, I think it will be a good match. Anti-Trigger says, awesome, Thomas. So Anti-Trigger isn't even building this ship. He's got Thomas building it. Mamo Prey says, Rambling Canuck, thank you so much for the nice things you said about me on your stream today. Yes, Rambling Canuck's afternoon ramble stream, which everybody should be subscribed to Rambling Canuck and get the notifications for, and go to his morning and afternoon ramble streams, usually Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Rambling Canuck said some very nice things about Mamo Prey today. She heard them and she was touched. John Araki says just $1 a day will feed a starving Turtistani for a day. Cinnabon says, I don't know what weapons it has though. Weapons? Why would we need weapons? Anti-Trigger says, fair enough. John DeMarco says, greetings. Kronos says, Anti-Trigger. Oh, hey there. Have you survived the day? Today is not Monday, by the way. Anti-Trigger says, Bird should do well as long as he does not have to fight a mountain. That's probably true. Yeah, well, I don't know about your Goliath, but apparently my bird of prey is not really meant for atmospheric fighting. So we have our own atmospheric fighters if need be. John Araki says, whatever happened to Mr. Lundell? Haven't seen a groovy movie in a minute. He's usually here, Mr. Lundell. Multigaman says, mountains, the eternal enemy of Kuroga. Chief Cook says, make sure you see bird crying video. I wasn't crying, I was laughing so hard it sounded like I was crying. But yeah. Kronos is 5-ish. What the hell? What the actual hell? Yeah, 5-ish. Okay, that is my schedule, by the way. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I go on 5-ish. Monday and Friday are Bed Life streams. Wednesdays is this Deep Space Nine stream. Tuesdays, I go on 2-ish to 3-ish, sometimes later. That is City Skylines. And Thursday, also between 2 and 4 sometime. That's going to be Besiege. And Saturday and Sunday are open. I will figure out what to do. They are to be discussed. That's the basic schedule at this point. Yosef says, wow, congrats. Took me 3 hours to find a design. We'll watch it tomorrow. It's late here. Okay, very cool. Yeah, I uploaded the video. It's a 6-minute video. I uploaded it. I did it as a premiere a couple hours ago, about 3 p.m. Eastern, and I guess it was 2:30 p.m. Eastern. And it was basically my first attempt. Not my first attempt. My first model. I weighted it down a little different, and it just took me a hell of a lot of tries, but I finally got it. Thomas says, I'm building an office. Well, you seem good at building offices, Thomas. Chrono says, I'm thinking that bird of prey can't tell time. Anti-Trigger says, Thomas is bird, he doesn't understand the idea that the leader might do some of the work. I was the one that was going to be out fighting you on the spaceship, and you wanted me to instead be piloting the spaceship. When was the last time Captain Kirk took the helm of the Enterprise in a battle? He doesn't. Okay, that's Sulu's job. Kirk is out on the hull with a rifle, ready to shoot the Klingons. That's what captains do. Multi-Gunman says, Bird Turtistan farms out their shipbuilding. They don't have the industrial capabilities of Kuroga. I see that. Ramley Canuck says, Mamo Pray 5, no problem. Hope to see a live stream from the true boss. My mama never raised no fool. I side with you. Mamo Pray gives a smiley face. Thomas says you were sobbing. I know it's hard to tell the difference, but I wasn't sobbing. It was tough. I was laughing. Corona says, Mama Pray, hello there. And Mama Pray is away from the computer at this point. So she says, hello back. Chief Cook says, yes, sobbing like a baby. Corona says, Mama Pray, please tell us a funny story about Joe. Do you want to do one now or not?
I got a single one.
You mentioned that one about the Halloween costume.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Okay, you guys are going to get a story, and then we're going to start Deep Space Nine. So if you want me to read your comment from this point on, use @BirdOPray5, or do a super chat, or donate via Streamlabs. The link is in the description near the top. So Mamo Pray will give a little story about a Halloween costume that she had mentioned a couple weeks ago. And then we're going to watch Deep Space Nine, The Storyteller.
Oh, okay. I don't know where to begin this one, but hello, guys. Let's see. Now, from seeing Joe almost every day, you can pretty much tell he wasn't a small child. And he was in junior high. So that was 6th, 7th, or 8th grade. I believe it was 6th grade. And Halloween came around, and they let everyone come in costume. I couldn't believe the costume he chose that year. He went as a baby. So that meant we had to get like white long underwear, because over the long underwear, he wore a diaper. A big diaper, carried a big rattle, a bonnet on his head, and this is how he went to school. I couldn't believe it. It was the one day I didn't want to be in the school. Unfortunately, I don't have a picture of him that day. I just didn't think he had it in him. That was like the first time I realized the comedian, right, the comedian my son was. Either that, or maybe he did take drugs and I just didn't know it.
No, there were no drugs involved.
Okay.
I just didn't care.
I wish I had a picture. Do you have a picture,
no,
Joe?
As far as I know, there's no picture. I didn't even remember that story until you mentioned it a couple weeks back. You said you were going to tell that story one day.
That's right.
I blocked it from my mind. I'll be honest. Junior high school, maybe because of that. Junior high school was not a fun experience. Junior high school was some of the worst years of my life, including the 10 years I've been in the bed.
Oh.
So, yeah, it was not great.
Well,
It wasn't terrible, I guess. It could have been worse. Other people had it worse, I'm sure. But those were the days that Dad O'Prey was coming to the school, threatening to send private security in. Because I mean, one day I got attacked in the bathroom by kids of a different ethnic group who didn't perhaps like me from my ethnicity. I don't know, but they were not happy. Yeah, I got attacked. Dad O'Prey was pissed. He was telling that he wanted personal security watching me. If the school couldn't guarantee my safety, he was going to send not armed, but security guards to follow me around the school, and that did not make the principal happy at all.
But the principal was a good friend of mine.
Anyway, yeah. So
Yes.
that was junior high. Yeah, I did start with the big baby costume. I remember that. I had a bottle too, I think.
Yes, a bottle. Yes,
it was a rattle and a bottle.
A blue bottle was blue, not
Yeah.
pink. And the bonnet was blue.
The bonnet was blue.
White long sleeve.
Yeah, like a little like It's a Boy looking like baby would be if you had It's a Boy on like a thing. Yeah. It did. And the diaper, it was a cloth diaper. It wasn't an adult Depends or something. It was a cloth diaper.
No, it was part of a costume.
It was part of the costume. And yeah. I still don't get why that was so out there. I mean, everybody was coming as, different things. Why is a baby so much different than Superman? Or whatever else people might have come as. Spider-Man? I don't know. So Chrono says he's resubbing. Anti-Trekkers' breaking news confirmed. Bert O'Prey will only read your comments if you super chat. No, I said or at Bert O'Prey 5. And lots of people are laughing. Captain Underpants Beta Edition. Says Hector. Baby, big baby, says Chief Cook. It was the drugs. Says not Ryan Johnson. Howdy, folks, says Vile Mike. Welcome, Vile. Anti-Trigger says, lol, I think we need to dress Bird like a baby again and put him in a giant crib. Hashtag crib life. Josh Street says Bird was drunk on blood wine. Hello and Qapla, not Ryan Johnson. We're just about to get started. Anti-Tracker lol. Chief Cook says bird had, and I'm thinking that is the poop emoji.
Make this into a crib.
Mama Prey says she can make the bed into a crib. She can put the gate we use to keep Sassy out around the bed, and then I'll have my own little crib. Vile says actor was playing space engineers and the glitch hit the scout. The entire cockpit section flew off. Salvaged it, but barely. Well, sorry to hear that, Vile. Chrono says thank you for the story, Mama Prey.
You're welcome.
Actor says hashtag Birdo Prey 5 cribs. Multigunman says Birdo Prey, I think every stream should start out with a Mama Prey 5 interview. She's got an awesome New York accent. I could listen to her all day. Well, thank you, Multigunman. Chrono says, why is the baby so different from Superman? They're all costumes, right? I mean, how did that not make me the most popular kid in school? I don't know. It wasn't a problem with me. The problem was with them. Also, Mama Prey neglected to mention it, but I was a lot heavier than I am now. I mean, like, way heavier. I lost a lot of weight in college. And then I lost a lot of weight when I got sick, but I gained most of that back. But I was literally, would have been probably, 400 pounds in junior high. Or damn near close to it. Damn near close to it. So yeah. And 6'4". I probably wasn't fully grown. I might have been 6'2". By junior high, but I had hit full height by early high school. So yeah. Mike Richards says greetings from Columbus, Ohio. Greetings, Mike Richards. Anti-Tracker says, well, must be going next appointment. Talk to you later, guys. Take care, Anti-Tracker. Chief Cook says turf, baby. Vile says, Joseph, thanks him for saying that, and thanks for subbing. Very cool. And Superman was once a baby, says actor. Very much. I could have been Super Baby. No one knew. Cinnabon says, I went life with Matthew on my team. Bird's Beard or Prey is amazing. I want life with Matthew on my team. Bird's Bird of Prey is amazing. Thank you, Cinnabon. Well, Cinnabon joined Kuroga, and life with Matthew would be on your team. Josh reads, so Bird, you are a heavy hobbit. Well, I would say no, because I don't watch Lord of the Rings or anything like that. Vile Mike says, okay, CBS Viacom merger, good or bad for Star Trek going forward? Yes. It is good and bad. I would say, I don't think it's going to make a difference in the short term. You know, they already have, they're not changing Discovery. You can't change Discovery. Even if even if they canceled Discovery, which they can't. There's already going to be a season 3 of Discovery. There's already going to be Star Trek Picard. It's already filmed. Nobody's going back and redoing it. The best we could hope for is that the CEO of Viacom tells them that they got to get their shit in order and really change up how they do future seasons. But to be honest, I really don't see it making a difference. Maybe in a few years it will make a difference, but for right now, we're screwed. My only hope is maybe, and I don't know if it would make any difference, is maybe it would allow or bring money into the budget to make Deep Space Nine on Blu-ray, because we need Deep Space Nine and Voyager on HD. That would make me happy. More so Deep Space Nine than Voyager, but I wouldn't turn down Voyager. Trek Yards is online, says Chief Cook. Well, they got a right to stream. I can't say they can't stream. Josh Reed says, Bird, you say you're a bit taller than Anti-Tracker, and he's a hobbit. Well, I don't know what. I think Anti-Tracker lies about his height. I think Anti-Tracker is already gone, Josh Strait. Continuum Tracks is hi, quickly popping in. How are you, Bird of Prey? Good, Continuum Track. Hope you are doing well. And for those guys who don't know, Continuum Trek and German Trekkie are the newest certified nerds at antitracker.com. So you should head over and check out their content. And again, just another shout out to Violent Mike. He's been doing he made some really good video maybe 2 days ago. Him and his daughter did a great breakdown of a Star Trek TOS episode. And it looks like they're going to do more episodes like that in the future. It was one of the better videos I've seen. Also, Life with Matthew does great videos. And I told you guys about Rambling Canuck earlier in the stream. He does some great live streams. And there's other people, but those are people who I've seen here. So yeah, definitely check them out. And you're welcome, Continuum Track. You are welcome. So with that, guys, let's try and get started on this episode. Now, this episode is, like I said, episode 13 on Netflix. You're welcome, Vile. You're welcome. It was my pleasure. This is episode 13 on Netflix, 14 on most other places. It's called The Storyteller. It is 45 minutes and 40 seconds or so long. So if you want to watch along, and I hope you do, because obviously you're going to get some still shots in the corner over there, but you're not going to get any audio. I'll be watching the actual audio. So I'll be doing commentary, not play-by-play. Hopefully not play-by-play. And we watch it together, and you see what I have to say, and I'll listen to what you guys have to say. Afterwards, I will do a bit of a review on the episode, and we'll go from there. I'll be honest. This is nobody's favorite episode. I highly doubt anyone loves this episode, but I also don't think it's the worst episode. I don't even think it's the second worst, but yeah. Kronos says Bird of Prey 5. Oh, thank you, Kronos. Joseph says Trek Yard's content in the last months is underwhelming. Sorry to say that since I like the guys. Yeah, I mean, listen, they've done tons and tons and tons of great content. But, you know, they do their best content when they have new content to break down. New ships, right? That's their best stuff. And there just hasn't been a hell of a lot of new Trek. Once Picard comes out, I'm sure they will have a whole ton of new stuff to break down. But yes, I understand. I love Trek Yards too, and I try to watch them, but you know, there's only so many times you can stream about the Las Vegas Star Trek convention. You know, you streamed when you were there, and now every day is a more about the convention, when we know not all that much happened at the convention. You know, Comic-Con, there was a hell of a lot more stuff happened at Comic-Con. You could stream about what happened at Comic-Con for 2 weeks after Comic-Con. The Star Trek convention, not much happened, okay? People went there, they met some actors, you got to buy shit, and that was really it. There wasn't a hell of a lot more else to talk about. But, you know, I love Trek Yards. If they're on, I'm usually watching. If I'm not live or someone else isn't live, I'd be in Trek Yards. You guys, not going to say a bad thing about them. Just, I can understand. So, Continuum Tracks is poor O'Brien being made to believe he was the new Messiah. Yeah. And Josh Reed is putting at Bird of Prey 5 in multiple times. Right, okay. So, guys, when I start doing the commentary, I'm going to skip most of the comments. If you want me to look at your comment, please use at Bird of Prey 5, and I will be able to see it. Or, of course, you could super chat if you want. You don't have to, but If you super chat, you do not have to put @BirdoPrey5 in the super chat. Just to be clear. I will see either of those, and I will respond to them as soon as I can. As soon as I can might be the end of the episode. We'll see. Can't promise. But I will go back and look for anybody who uses @BirdoPrey5 or a super chat, and I will respond as soon as possible. Josh Street says if you say BirdoPrey5 3 times, you will see BirdoPrey5 in a baby costume. I'm sorry, Josh Street. It does not work like that. Canoix says, always wanted to go to Trek Las Vegas. After seeing some of the vids, never want to go now. Except for Shatner autograph. Yeah, Canoix. I went to Star Trek The Experience in Las Vegas right before it shut down. I think like the year before it shut down. And I was underwhelmed. I mean, there was nothing fancy going on. You're just walking through this place. I didn't want to pay to go on a ride that was like half of a ride. It wasn't even a real ride. I mean, it was cool to walk around something that looked like Deep Space Nine. And then they had this little museum area that had some, props from the TV show. And there was a place that you were supposed to be able to eat at, but for whatever reason, I don't think either they weren't serving food at the time or whatever. So it was like, it was like a gift shop more than anything. I was like, well, it's okay, but hardly an experience. And then to see some of the video from Nerdrotic and from Trek Yards at Star Trek Las Vegas, underwhelming. I mean, don't get me wrong, I would have gone if I had the money, the time, and the physical ability to. I certainly would have gone. I would have felt it was my duty to go. But, in the scheme of things, I feel much worse that I missed Comic-Con than that I missed Star Trek Las Vegas. Can we start already? My Netflix closed like 3 times already. Okay, Hector, you're right. You're right. Bird says, don't forget to switch to live chat. I have. I did switch to live chat. He's saying everybody else, don't forget to switch to live chat. So, okay, guys, let's get ready. Get your Netflix or whatever open. Deep Space Nine, Season 1, The Storyteller. I'm going to be starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and it starts. Okay. So, we're back to starting with a Deep Space Nine station view. Last week was the first episode that I remember that didn't start with an outside view of the station. So, Chief O'Brien is coming over to Sisko. He's hoping he can get out of this assignment. He wants some ensign to replace him on the mission. Apparently, Sisko says he should have been on Bajor already. Sisko is saying that there's nothing that needs him on the station. And you see, it's Doctor Bashir. Dr. Bashir is the reason O'Brien didn't want to go on the mission. So Bashir asks if the magistrate of the village gave any details on the nature of this medical emergency in the village. So it's a medical emergency is what they called in. And Sisko, of course, says, no, there's no details. So, of course, that makes sense, right? You just call up a space station, hey, we've got a medical emergency, can you come down? And Starfleet says, yeah, we'll send down our best doctor and our best engineer. Well, why are you sending an engineer for a medical emergency? But regardless, you don't even ask, hey, what's going on? Did people have a fever? Did they get maimed? Should we be sending, more than one person for this medical emergency? No, we just got no details. No details at all. So the B plot. That's the A plot, is Bashir and O'Brien going to the planet, going to Bajor. But the B plot is that the Baku and some other faction of Bajoran are coming to the station to do peace talks. And this chick, this young woman, she looks to be about 14, I don't know. She is apparently the leader of the Baku faction. So that's when they realize that that leader is a kid, they all look at each other and we get the opening credits. So, yeah. There we go. Had they given even the slightest amount of detail on this medical emergency going on Bajor, this whole episode would have went differently. They probably would have sent Dax. They probably would have sent Dax and Bashir. Or they would have said, stop tying up the lines, you crazy, you know. They're like, you can't call into, this is a prank call. You have a monster that comes to attack your village if your storyteller doesn't, say some magical story to drive it away. They're crank calling us. That's not cool. And, we're going to tell your parents on you. That's what Starfleet probably would have said. Yeah. But here we are. Continuum Tracks is Vile Mike. Thank you for the sub. Bird of Prey, I have to go again. Sorry, but wanted to get this video up tonight already. 23:45. Lowell, live long and prosper. Continuum Trek, Qapla, take care. I absolutely know what it's like to need to get that video up before I go to bed. It happens to every YouTuber. Take your time, man. Get it done right and enjoy. No worries. The Haiku faction, everything must be said in 14 syllables. Syllables, says Kennewick. So we're on the runabout. We've got Bashir and O'Brien looking around. Bashir would like an honest answer. He wants to ask a question. So Bashir asks O'Brien if he annoys him. So O'Brien doesn't say no. O'Brien says, what sort of question is that? And Bashir's like, well, we spent the last 2 hours together and you haven't said a word. O'Brien said he didn't notice. He supposed he's too busy thinking. So now Bashir wants to know what he's thinking about. Of course, O'Brien doesn't know what he was thinking about. He was thinking about when he gets back to the station, I'll have to run a level 1 diagnostic. Nonsense. Bashir is saying that O'Brien's opinion means a lot to him. And that Bashir knows he has a tendency to run his mouth a bit. Don't hold it against him. And O'Brien keeps saying, oh, not at all, sir. So Bashir says, it's really not necessary to call me sir. So Miles is like, well, what do you want me to call you? You are my superior officer. And Bashir said, oh, call me Julian. So Miles, with a look of disgust on his face, says, is that an order? And Bashir said, no, I just thought it'd be nice to call me by my first name. So they get to orbit, and O'Brien uses Julian, even though you can tell O'Brien isn't comfortable using the doctor's first name. So they beam into the middle of a village. Doesn't seem like anybody cares. Dr. Bashir, using a tricorder, has already said that there's nothing in the air, the groundwater, or the soil. It's all clear. So this guy comes and gets them, and he says, I only hope you're not too late. So they come into this bedroom of some guy with a beard. They're saying, you must help him. And Bashir said, how many others are sick? And he's like, others? There's nobody else sick. And Miles says, but you said the whole village was in jeopardy. And the guy said, yes, if he dies, we all die. So now we're back on Deep Space Nine. Official negotiations don't start till tonight, but this is an informal meeting to see where they stand. The Paku and the Davat shall forever be the River Greyhound. That should be the border. So the Cardassians diverted the river during the occupation. The Glearhound now flows 20 kilometers west. So the girl says that the treaty says the river is the common border. So the girl wants the extra land. The guy says that the treaty didn't mean anything about Cardassian occupations. And really the guy's in the right here, okay? The river was supposed to be the border. Nobody ever thought Cardassians were going to come and reroute the river. So it's bullshit. This girl really has absolutely no claim to this land. Okay? Sisko should have just said, listen, the way I see it, you gotta give back that land. It's not yours. Yes, they agreed on the river. There were extenuating circumstances. It's over. Bullshit. You're done. Of course, Quark comes in trying to give drinks to everyone. He sees a young girl and he gives her, I don't know, a glass of milk or something. And the girl gets pissed. She's like, I'm not a young girl, or I'm not a kid. And throws it on Quark. And Quark says, I'm charging her for that drink. So now Nog and Jake are sitting around the promenade, loitering. Odo doesn't like it. No dangling over the promenade. They said they're not going to fall, and Nog says we can see things better from down here. Of course, Odo asks, well, what's interesting? And Jake says, nothing. So he tells them to both get up. They were arguing over what to do. They're completely bored, because apparently the only thing they can play in the holodeck is baseball. But in true Ferengi fashion, once Odo walks away, Nog goes right back to sitting where he was. Now Nog sees. He says, I've never seen anything so beautiful. And Nog has to meet her. Jake looks and she says, yeah, she's all right. This is the leader of the Paku. Not pervy at all. Dal'Rok, okay. So, Bashir is with the sick guy. And he asks for the time. The guy tells him it's 2 hours before nightfall. He wants to go. And the guy says, the prophet sent you to Bashir. And he's touching Bashir's hand. He says, there's something wrong. It must be your companion. So he calls Chief O'Brien over. And Bashir's like, why? And the guy says, because you're not the one I've been waiting for. So Bashir tells O'Brien to come over. He tells him, come closer. I'm not going to spit up on you. He holds his hand. And he knows, he's relieved. He said, I knew the prophets would not fail us. You may leave now. Both of you. Okay. So Bashir tells the guy that's hanging out with him to stay in bed. So O'Brien wants to know what that was about, and Bashir doesn't know. So Bashir is, I guess there's no oath about keeping your medical information private here, because Bashir is telling him the full diagnosis as to what's wrong with the guy. He's suffering from organ failure. So this guy says, we need him. The Dalrock will be here soon. And O'Brien's like, what's a Dalrock? And this guy says he comes, it's a creature that comes every time at the end of harvest. This is the 4th of 5 nights it's going to come. He says that the guy, Bashir says this guy can't even get out of bed. And this other guy says, well, if what you say is true, the village is going to be destroyed tonight. So does anybody leave the village? Do they evacuate? Do they beam away? Because you could beam to anywhere on Bajor, I'm pretty sure. No. They all stay right where they are. Does the Bajoran military come to defend this village? No. Where was the Dalrock when the Cardassians were there? Did the Dalrock attack the Cardassians? So Nog and Jake are arguing outside the girls' quarters. And Nog says, my name's Jog, I mean Jake. And then Jake says, he's Nog, I'm Jake. And they invite themselves in. And so the girl says, Sisko, she knows that name. So Jake says, we're kind of the unofficial welcoming committee. So Nog says, you're right. Welcome to Deep Space Nine. The girl says, thank you. And he asked if you'd like a tour of the station, that there's a Klingon ship going through the wormhole, we could watch it. And Nog says, well, we know the best spot on the station for wormhole watching. And the girl says she's not busy, let's go. And they are so happy. So happy. Chrono says this is a dumpster fire of an episode. So Bashir is begging the guy to go back to bed, and he says it's touching, but his fate is now in the hands of the prophets. So he comes up to this big rock, he stands on it, and he tells the other guy to go down. He's looking up at the sky, and I don't know, he's seeing leaves blow around. And O'Brien is saying nothing showing up on his tricorder. These people are literally standing on a rope bridge. Why? If a giant monster was coming to attack your village, you could find a place a little sturdier to stand. Okay, so this guy is giving this whole spiel about the twisted pit of chaos and the ancients. And we're getting a smoke monster, the lost smoke monster. It had its start here in Deep Space Nine. So Bashir is asking, the doctor is asking the engineer if it's alive. And Miles is saying, no, it's not registering on tricorder. There's no power source. The doctor is asking if it's alive. Maybe the doctor should be using a medical tricorder to make that determination. He wants to know if it's a hologram. The Dalrock thinks the village is powerless to defend itself. So O'Brien is still looking at his tricorder, even though there's lightning and thunder going on all around him. So He's trying to tell the people of the village that the people of the village are stronger than the Dal'Rok can imagine. And they need to be united. And they're doing a Care Bear stare. And the power is coming out of them. And it's fighting the Dal'Rok. We shall drive the Dal'Rok. And then the guy has a heart attack. And dies. And now the Dal'Rok starts firing photon torpedoes at the village. I don't know. Maybe they're not photon torpedoes. But Miles is like, oh, bloody hell. And they go to commercial. They need to do their Care Bear stare again. The Dal'Rok is destroying the village. And, and so the guy who had the heart attack is asking, where's my successor? And the kid who's been with him says he's there. And the Dal'Rok says, no, not you. The new guy. So now the old guy is telling O'Brien to tell the village, to repeat the words. The village shall not be destroyed. The village shall not be destroyed. Say it louder so they can hear, he says. Despite our fears, we shall stand our ground. Stand our ground. Yes. Very Texas-y. We'll face the Dal'Rok. So, and there's the Care Bear stare going again. The powers are coming out of their chest. And it's fighting the Dal'Rok. They're more powerful. And they're fighting, they're putting their fists in the air with anger. This is how the SJWs will defeat all enemies. If they just stand together, they can fight the big evil Donald Trump with the power of, I don't know what, the powers of SJW-ness. They can just send it all out and it'll fight back the racism. It'll fight back the misogyny. And there it is. O'Brien says the Dal'Rok is defeated, the village is safe, and the guy dies. The guy's dead. Dead. He's dead. He's dead, Jim. Yeah, Bashir says he's dead. So now the guy is like, well, tomorrow the Dal'Rok is coming back. He says, the Sarah has left us. But the Prophet has sent us a new successor. And they pick up Miles. A new Sarah to tell the story. And they say, now first thing you do, O'Brien, they got to choose a wife. Oh, they basically say that. They say that in a couple of minutes. Is this an episode of Scooby-Doo? So we're back on the station. Quark is talking with Morn. And so Kira wants a Star Drifter drink. I don't know what that is. Of course, it happened to be in Quark's hand. And Quark wants to know how are the negotiations going. And Kira says, better make it a double. Chrono says, pull my ear. So the girl is coming into Sisko's office and says that I just spent 5 hours sitting, unproductive hours. So Sisko's saying, what are you doing here? She's like, I'm sticking up for my people. And he says, how? By starting a war? She's like, I don't like your tone. And she's saying, I'm ready to die for it. I hope they are. She's asking or does he not believe her? And Sisko's like, I hope we come to a peaceful resolution or something like that. And she's like, well, what you hope is no concern of mine. And so now Sisko's asking if she's as sure that her people are as ready as her to die for the land. And of course she doesn't know. He's a kid, and she's in the wrong. Okay, this is a clear issue of in the wrong. So, Jake and Nog are looking for her. Nog is saying that he saw her first. She's mine. But Nog can't say more than 2 words to her without getting tongue-tied. And there she is. She's looking over the promenade. They all fit. They all fit in, all 3 of them. I'm sure she doesn't think it's awkward that they came and sat next to her so closely. Especially when she was such this badass leader in the conference room, but on the promenade she'd just be any other kid. She's explaining it that these people want something from me very badly, and Nog is like, well, do they have anything you want? And she doesn't. She never thought of that. And Nog says, maybe it's not a problem, maybe it's an opportunity, which is very Ferengi of him. And Jake says, when I have a problem, I ask my dad. And Nog says, yeah, my dad, I ask him too. And Jake says, yeah, my dad's a pretty smart guy. And Nog says, my guy is too. And they look at him. He's like, well, in its own way. But the woman, the girl, says that her parents are dead, killed by the Cardassians. And Jake keeps saying about his dad, and Nog is like, let's talk about somebody other than your father. And Odo came and ran them off. Like a typical security guy. He smiles. Odo smiles. He's so happy. I don't understand, Kronos. What does pull my ear? So Bashir's happy to see that O'Brien is in charge. So Bashir is saying that he's glad O'Brien came on the mission, because if he didn't come, he would have done what he could for the Serac and left. So he would have left the whole village to be destroyed. Dal'Rok. So O'Brien's pissed because he has no idea how to stop it. The Dal'Rok's coming back tonight. So now the village elders are coming in or something. They've got gifts for him. And so Bashir says, oh, bring him in, put him wherever you like. Bashir's loving it. And Dr. Bashir says, we're visitors here, Chief. It'd be impolite to refuse our hosts. And now there's the 3 women. And Bashir said, Chief O'Brien looks at the girls and says, how can I help you ladies? And Bashir says, I think they're the ones offering services. For somebody so young, Bashir really read that well. So the guy asks, oh, is there a problem? And Bashir and O'Brien's like, no, I have a wife and child on Deep Space Nine. So the guy says, of course, and he motions the women away. He's like, so I guess we could send for them. And O'Brien's like, why would we send for them? And the guy's like, so they can come down here and live with you. And like, live with me? I'm not staying, says O'Brien. And he's like, what do you mean you're not staying? If you don't stay, who's going to protect us from the Dal'Rok? And the other guy who was apparently the prior successor to the old man, he's looking at O'Brien with contempt. Kronos says, what's Nog's first name? Egg. Nog's first name is no Eggnog. Nog's first name is Nog. I get it. Eggnog. Ah ha ha ha. Bashir and O'Brien could leave whenever they want. They could get in the runabout and fire a photon torpedo at that thing if they wanted to. Or a phaser. So, Jake and Nog are back at the girls' quarters, asking if she wanted to do anything. She said, "No, I don't want to do anything." Nog says, "Well, if there's anything we can do to cheer you up." And she says, "No," and then Jake's trying to pull him out, saying, "Let's go before you embarrass yourself." And she says, "Wait. So she's asking Nog, "How can you be sure an opportunity is worth the risk?" And Nog is saying, "Instinct. The 9th rule of acquisition. Opportunity plus instinct equals profit." Jake says that's not going to help, but the girl says that it does help. Nog says, "Let's celebrate." He took one of the uncle's security rods, one of Quark's security rods. So Nog's like, let's swipe Odo's bucket. And Jake is like, "Are you serious?" And Nog's like, "It'd be fun." And it looks like the girl's down for swiping Odo's bucket. That seems to be fun. I guess that's what passes for fun. When they have holodecks where you could literally do anything you wanted. So Jake is explaining to the girl why the bucket is so important to Odo. Jake is saying this isn't such a good idea. And Nog goes in. He brings them into the security office. The girl asks if we're sure it's alright. And then Nog trips with the bucket, and some liquid comes out all over. Liquid comes out all over Jake, and Jake thinks it's Odo. And Nog is laughing hysterically. He says, "I filled it from the replicator. It's oatmeal." You should see your face. Jake and the girl are laughing hysterically. That was a good one. That might be Nog's best moment pre-Starfleet. Nog really pulled off a good joke there. Of course, Odo comes in and sees the bucket and says he believes that belongs to him. And Nog comes running out of security office, and Sisko just instinctively grabs him by the arm, as if he knew he was up to something bad. So Sisko sees Jake and the girl and the oatmeal, and he's in a position to use his power. He could put her in jail. This isn't extortion. So O'Brien's trying to figure out a way using science and engineering to stop the Dal'Rok. So O'Brien is saying all he did was repeat what the Serath told him. And O'Brien is saying maybe there's a control mechanism hidden somewhere. So the woman comes up to O'Brien with a baby and wants him to bless the child. So O'Brien touches the kid on the head and says, "I'm sure she'll make you very proud." And there's more people, more followers. O'Brien's very uncomfortable, so Bashir has to run interference, and he's holding everybody back. Bashir's saying that maybe I could be of service. But then the guy who was the real next in line, walks around Bashir and with evil in his eyes heads towards O'Brien. O'Brien is looking around the Sarah's quarters, trying to find whatever secret he had that actually let him fight the Dal'Rok. And O'Brien's about to get stabbed. And O'Brien says, I could use some privacy. And this guy says, oh, there's gifts outside for you. So then O'Brien says, wait, didn't you work for the Sarah? He said, yeah, I was the apprentice. And so O'Brien said, did he ever reveal any of his secrets? And the guy's asking, why would you ask me? Surely the Sarah taught you everything you need to know. So O'Brien's like, fine, have it your way. Don't blame me when the creature goes rampaging through your village like Harvey. The Dal'Rok is Harvey. So now the guy's trying to stab O'Brien. And Bashir luckily came in. Of course, Bashir with his superhuman strength, it hasn't quite developed yet. He should easily be able to overpower that guy. So O'Brien got the knife away from him. And he's like, why were you trying to kill me? Explain. And the guy's like, you're not the true Sarah. O'Brien's saying, well, of course I'm not. I'm not going to argue with you. Well, who is, says Bashir. And the guy says, he is. Good, so you do it. Everybody will be happy. They should leave. They should just leave right now. Fly away. This guy studied for 9 years. 9 years to tell a damn story that I could make up the story. I could make up the story after watching this episode for 5 minutes. So Bashir says the job's his. And it says that the guy says it's his way of the Sarah punishing him. He said 3 nights ago, the Sarah allowed him to tell the story, but when the Dal'Rok appeared, he was unable to control it, and people were injured. So apparently, this bracelet has an orb, has a piece of the orb, of an orb from the Celestial Temple. So, the guy is saying many, many years ago, the village was divided with mistrust. And, oh, you know what? This might be what we need to do in 2019 America. The only way, we gotta create a creature, maybe Harvey, so terrible that it would destroy the entire country unless we all united together and Care Bear stared our way up into the sky and fought it away. And only by uniting would we survive. Some might say that already exists in the form of, I don't know, China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, and all these other countries that would love to see us gone. But if it needs to be a flying monster in the sky, so be it. So be it. So this guy is saying that how dare the guy wear the robes. He has no business wearing the robes. He won't be allowed to endanger the village a second time. So now the guy's putting the robe on O'Brien, calling him Sarah, and O'Brien begrudgingly takes the robe. Hey, Derek. Sorry if I missed you earlier. So, we're back in Sisko's office. So, the girl says that she takes full responsibility for what happens. And Sisko says, well, they all deserve blame. And the girl says they were just trying to impress me. And she asked Sisko, didn't he ever do anything to impress a girl? And he says, I may have. And the girl says, that's not really why I was with them. I wanted to learn about you. Jake speaks very highly of you. He trusts you. Well, big surprise that a kid trusts his father. How earth-shattering. Oh, now she's getting all touchy-feely. Not touchy-feely. Emotional touchy. About how her father was a great man and he misses her. She misses him. That her father was a great man. It's difficult. And Sisko says, well, her father wasn't afraid to compromise. And she said that's because they feared him. And if I was to make concessions, they would think I was weak, which is probably true. But here's the thing. How about you just accept that you were wrong, that the river was moved, without intent of either side, and that you should obey the original borders where the river used to be. Or reroute the river back. So now she says she knows of an opportunity that will allow both sides to say yes. So Nog is the hero. It is not the best episode ever. Actor, I can't wait for this episode to end. Is Anti-Trekker back? So Brian tells the guy that he should be fighting for his job if he wants it. And the guy is saying that these people will never accept him as Sarah, and without their support he could never control the Dot Rock. And O'Brien says, you think I can? And the guy says, you have to. And Bashir wishes the chief good luck. I don't think she's wrong because she's a woman. Okay, so O'Brien steps up on the rock and he's screwing up. He's going, once upon a time there was a doll rock and it lives there in the woods. And he hated the village, all the villagers. See, O'Brien is a better storyteller than this, so this is weak. And then he's saying, yes, the doll rock is here and it's hungry. He's trying to say the village is prepared to fight, like it's always fought, but he's not doing a great job. And the guy saying, something's wrong. And Bashir is saying, what's wrong is that O'Brien is not the Sarah you are. And O'Brien is like purposely failing. The village is strong and not afraid, and he's very poorly delivering the lines. So Bashir is saying maybe the Sarah planned this. He knew the village lost confidence in you, so he chose O'Brien, but he wants you to be the true Sarah. So yep, Bashir figured it out. So now this guy has to save O'Brien's ass, and by extension the village. And of course the the doll rock starts shooting. People are starting to panic. And finally, hopefully, yes, the kid runs up, and the young guy, he takes the bracelet, And he says that he appears to challenge the Dal'Rok. And O'Brien says it's about time. And so the new guy, he's telling a good story. He's rhyming words. And the Care Bear stare is going on again. The Dal'Rok trembles, it fears our strength. It fears our determination. It knows it cannot stand against us because the village is united. Yay! And it all goes up into the sky and the cloud goes away. Oh my god. I gotta tell ya, this A-plot is garbage. The A-plot is garbage. So, the Dal'Rok is defeated. The village is safe for another year. And the young guy is now the Sarah. And O'Brien says, let's get out of here before they change their minds. The Pirates... No, the Pirates aren't stupid. The Pirates are much better than the Dal'Rok. So, we're back on the station to conclude the B-plot. So, the girl is now going to give the proposal. Free trade access to both sides of the river. It's a reasonable compromise, says Sisko. So Jake and Nog were waiting for her to wish her luck. And she gives Nog a little peck on the cheek. And Nog, you know, as a Ferengi, Nog really shouldn't be all that interested in that. It would have been better if she touched his ear. So now Odo takes Nog and Jake and says that they're going to have to clean the security office till it shines. Bashir and O'Brien got back, and Bashir says this will be a great story to tell around the station. And O'Brien says, not for me. I'm done telling stories. And Julian. And then Bashir says, you know what, Chief? You don't really have to call me Julian. So then O'Brien, for the first time, I think in this entire episode, smiles. The first smile we get out of O'Brien is right there. That he's been relieved of having to call Julian, and he can just call him Sir. It makes him happy. And I think right there was the first step of friendship between Miles and Bashir. I gotta be honest, this episode is worse than I remembered it. Worse than I remembered it. This story is just so stupid, okay? We're supposed to believe that hundreds of years ago, ancient Bajorans created a monster, the Shirok, or whatever the hell his name is, so his village was so horribly divided that he created a monster with the power to injure and kill people, so that only the united village could ever fight it off, and apparently only one person in the village at any given time ever knows the way to do it. Because that makes sense, right? Because what if the guy got killed by lightning or fell down a well or got hit by a space bus, okay? Or died of some type of accident or plague? You're going to destroy the entire village? You can't, that's not a plan that lasts, you can't have one person, possibly one person, an apprentice, in charge of safekeeping a village for hundreds of generations. That makes no sense. Okay? It makes zero sense. The fact that the thing doesn't show up on tricorder makes no sense. It's not the prophets. Okay? The prophets don't get personally involved in this type of crap. We know that. So it's either it has to be some type of technology-based thing. And if it was a technology-based thing, they should have been able to find it and shut it off. Right? Had this been some other Star Trek episode which we've seen this type of episode. You know, a village thinks that it's a paranormal or a ghost or something, and it's actually technology. And by the end of the episode, they shut down the generator or whatever, and they free the village from the tyranny or whatever. They could have found the hologram generator or something, and they could have told the new Sarah, hey, here it is, if you ever need to pull the plug, this is how you do it. And he's like, well, you know, I think it's probably better we keep it anyway. It keeps the village united. But no, they didn't do that. And where's the rest of the Bajoran military? Is Bajor just going to let an entire village be destroyed? Does nobody else care about this? Is nobody trying to learn the secrets behind it? That would have been a lot of power to use against the Cardassians. How do you send 2 people from a space station down without getting any details on what the problem is? I don't know. Why does O'Brien need to go at all? Okay, why would you send your top engineer down for a what looked like it was a medical thing? Maybe you send the chief doctor and a nurse, or the chief doctor and a pilot. I don't think Dax was in this episode at all.
You know why?
Why, Mom?
Because he was missing from all those earlier episodes, and they needed to make up some screen time for it.
So Mom O'Prey says the reason is because O'Brien was missing from all those earlier episodes, and they needed to make up screen time. Well, I think it's just because of plot. They needed to get O'Brien and Bashir to become friends, so they had to push them onto a scene together or a mission together. But forgetting the overarching behind-the-scenes storytelling, as for why does this make sense in Star Trek universe, it simply doesn't. And just now I think about it, Dax wasn't in this episode at all, even though she is a series regular. Kira was in it, Odo was in it, Quark was in it. Obviously, Captain Sisko was in it, Jake was in it, Nog was in it. Rom was not. Yeah, I think Dax was really the only regular not in it. And of course, Keiko wasn't in it, but Keiko wasn't really a regular. So let's read some comments, and I gotta say this after watching this episode, it's pretty rough. I'm really gonna change it. I'm gonna change this to I originally wrote that this was not one of the worst episodes, but it certainly is one of the worst Deep Space Nine episodes. It might not be one of the worst Trek episodes, but it's only because there's been some really lousy Trek episodes. It wouldn't be in the top 10 worst, but it might be in the top 20 worst. It really might be. And 20 from, and I'm not even counting Discovery, okay? Discovery is the worst of the worst. Discovery doesn't count. Just actual real episodes of TOS, TNG, DS9, Voyager, and Enterprise. This is probably in the top 20 of all of them. Of the bottom 20 of all of them. Kronos' Bird of Prey. Didn't I say last week that I wasn't looking forward to this episode? You absolutely did, Kronos. You absolutely did. And I really thought, I was like, why does he hate this episode? The Storyteller. I was like, where O'Brien goes to the planet. Like, it's not that bad. It's that bad. It's that bad. Well, the good thing, I also think Sisko was in every episode, says Dan 23. That's probably true. I can't think of a single episode without Sisko. Although, if there's one, it's the one where Miles is undercover. Why is Miles an undercover agent? But okay, Miles is undercover infiltrating the Orion Syndicate. And if there's any, that's the episode. I don't know if it is, if it's the only episode without him or not, but I know that episode had very, very little takes place on Deep Space Nine. Well, maybe there is a B plot on Deep Space Nine, now that I think about it. Dan says agreed on Discovery. Next week's episode Progress is actually a good one, says Kronos. Well, that's good, because I'm looking forward to it. And we got somebody replied on What We Left Behind. Now, why weren't they watching this? Don't remember it by name. Actor says if the episode is any indication, Miles would make a lousy infiltrator. Well, I think he probably purposely said, purposely screwed up the delivery of that story because he didn't want to be there, right? He knew if he did it too well, the people would come to depend on him. So if he knew if he screwed it up on purpose, then they would we don't really need this guy. He's not so good after all. Good thing we didn't wed our daughter to him. That would be difficult. A difficult situation. Thomas Potts says IMDb says Brooke was in 173 episodes. How many episodes of Deep Space Nine were there? Alexa, how many episodes of Deep Space Nine were there?
There were 173 episodes of Star Trek.
Alexa says 173. Deep Space Nine. She said it. Cancel. Cancel. No, she said 173 episodes of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. What did you hear? Okay, that's what you said. Actor says, I've been having consideration on his social anxieties. Later on, he really doesn't have social anxieties. I think, a lot of characters really change between the first and second, third seasons. Obviously, Rom has a major change, going from comedy side relief idiot to super genius. Dax has a giant change. At the beginning of the series, Dax is like holier than thou, and by season 3, she's sleeping around with translucent headed aliens. She completely changes her demeanor. Who else changes a lot? Well, Jake just changes because he grows up. He starts off as a kid and he becomes an adult by the end of the show, for all intents and purposes. Kind of adult who would live at home till he was 30 or 40, but still an adult. And Thomas is funny, says O'Brien was in 173 episodes. Maybe they're counting episodes they're credited in. Well, if O'Brien is credited as 173 episodes, then we know that that's total nonsense. Because there's been at least 4 episodes this season alone that O'Brien was absolutely not in. Actor says when you watched it 60 plus times, it's because only one of your few VHS gets it better. When you've watched it 60 plus times because it's only one of your few VHS, it gets better, says Hector to Kronos. And Kronos doesn't know what VHS is. Yes, you do, Kronos. And Hector says, yep, those episode counts are inflated. Absolutely. Dan, you have to understand, Kronos asks what is blank, and Kronos knows damn well what blank is. It's just what he does. He'll ask, what is Anti-Trekker? Okay, he'll ask, what is Star Trek? What is, the moon? Those are things Kronos asks. Kronos, you know what VHS is. Don't listen to him. So, I gotta say, not my favorite. Hopefully next week will be good. I looked ahead. I think we got 20 episodes this season. It's Kronos' shtick. Yes, it is. Kronos' bird of prey. Nothing wrong with asking questions. Kronos, you know what? You're right. Feel free to ask any questions you want. I'm just warning people they don't need to waste their time typing necessarily to answer every question you ask. You have a tendency to ask questions that we're pretty sure you know the answer to. John DeMarco says, if I'll do you one better, why is VHS? See, at least that's a legitimate question. And Kronos says, what is 8-track? Okay. Yeah. Well, you guys have fun with that. So, next week is a good episode. That'll be cool. We're mostly through season 1. And, yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Some episodes are better than others. This one wasn't the greatest, unfortunately. But it is what it is. So I rate this on a scale of 10 of all Deep Space Nine episodes, within the Pale Moonlight and Duet probably being, 9.5s or 10s. I'll rate this, and Move Along Home being a 1. I would rate this a 2. Okay, I'd rate this a 2. It is slightly one above Move Along Home, but it is way, way far from the top. Now, compared to all Star Trek or all television in general, it's closer to a 4 or a 5. Okay, it's certainly closer to a 4 or a 5 compared to all other television shows that I've ever seen or I know about. And Thomas's Bird of Prey, we're in season 87. Yeah, you know what, Thomas? I believe ya. Season 87 with season 62 coming up next. So, that's cool. Well, guys, I think that'll be it for today. I think we talked about this episode about as much as I can. The girl, she was wrong. Why they have to compromise at all, I don't know. If like there's the river. The river separates New York from New Jersey, the Hudson River. Okay, if I don't know, aliens invaded and aliens diverted the Hudson River 20 miles into New Jersey, and it cut a swath out of New Jersey, and then the aliens left, and the river's still flowing 20 miles over. New York isn't going to say, hey, you guys all have to, I mean, they might, but if New York says you guys all have to pay New York's income tax now, New Jersey would take them to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court, whether conservative or liberal, I'm confident they would say no, the borders prior to the alien invasion stand, and those people don't have to pay income taxes to New York, and New York can go F themselves, or however you say that in judge talk. That's what they would say. So I mean, it was a pretty lame problem to be even having talks about, right? I mean, and I mean, are Bajorans really that fractured, or that they're basically controlled by like local warlords or something? There's no government that can deal with this stuff. I mean, I know it's a provisional government. We're still early in the series, but come on, people. If you can't settle a simple land dispute, you probably have no business being a planet. Actor says you need to make Cardassians great again for this reviews. Our Cardassians great again hat for these reviews, says Actor. I don't know. I don't know about that. Dan23 says agreed. Move along home. Crow says F yourself in judge talk. Yeah. And sorry, you don't have to be sorry you asked another question. And Josh Reed says, no, we want another bird story from Mama Pray 5. I don't know if she can do 2 stories in a stream. If you have one offhand, don't feel bad if you don't.
Does it have to be a new one, or I mean, does it have to be an old one, or can it be one?
No, it can be any story. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be an old story. Okay, you guys are getting another story, but this one isn't as old, apparently.
No. Hello again, guys. This one was actually a hospital story. You all know Joe's initial hospitalization lasted 7.5 months in ICU, and then another 2.5 months in a regular medical room. So he had just been moved to the medical room, and he was still under heavy medication for all different things. And this new doctor comes in, and this is his new attending doctor, and she was a nice lady, and she's talking to him, and finally he just holds his hand up and says, please, just leave. I can't stand your voice. I can't stand listening to you. Well, I wanted the floor to open up and swallow me, and that was it. We never saw her again.
She had a terrible voice, I'll be honest. I mean, I was half drugged. Don't get me wrong. I was on heavy drugs at the time. Not, legal drugs, painkillers and stuff. But, yeah, I didn't have any patience at that point. And there was just something about her voice I couldn't deal with. Do you remember, what was she, a nurse or something? The one I had to ask if that was like a guy or a woman?
Oh, yes. No, she was a PCA.
Yeah, she was a PCA.
Yes, we couldn't figure that out.
There was this one, I think it turned out she was a woman.
But it was hard to tell.
It was hard to tell. I tried to bring Mom O'Bray over, and I was trying to whisper best I could. I mean, I could hardly talk at the time, with tubes going down my leg. Is that a woman or a guy? Is that a guy or a girl? I couldn't tell. Now, I don't think they were trans. I don't think they were trans. It was just one of those people that was very hard to tell their gender. It was like I was freaked out. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to call them. Like, honestly, if they had just had a shirt with, hey, my pronoun is, I probably would have been happy, because you don't want to piss off the people attending to you in a hospital. But
you managed to do it all the time.
Well, hey, some people deserved it. She didn't deserve it.
What about the nurse?
That I wanted to punch her in the face?
Yes, you told her.
Yeah, but again, she deserved it.
She did.
Okay. So
I wanted to punch her in the face.
Mom O'Prey is saying that there was this time in the hospital where this nurse was being all batshit nuts about something. Going off of, I forget. Do you remember what she was going off about?
No, they were putting you in the chair.
Right. They wanted to put me in the chair, even though I had these 3 horrible stage 4 bed sores on my back. And by this time, the morphine had been completely become ineffective. Completely ineffective. So it was so painful. It was like literal torture. I was screaming. It hurt so much I couldn't even scream at times. And when I could scream, I screamed as loud as I could. But at times the pain was so bad, you couldn't even scream. And the woman kept saying, we got to do this, we got to do this. And I had no strength. I had no strength at the time. I could just about like bring, and I don't know, it might have been this hand. But whatever, yeah, I could barely bring it up, and I mean, I couldn't really make a fist. I would guess I was looking like this.
Well, those fingers weren't that bad.
Right, the fingers had yet to get that bad. So I think I had made a fist with this hand. And I was just like, listen, Bring your face over here so I can punch it. Because that's what she needed. Because she was out there.
She should not have ever become a nurse. There are people that don't belong in the healthcare industry, and she really was one of them.
No, Sassy was not born at that time.
99% of the nurses and the PCAs were wonderful people, caring people. But there were a few that should have become accountants. Just work alone, and they didn't belong in the healthcare.
Sassy's deciding to eat the pillow.
Oh, so I gotta go. Sassy's eating the pillow.
So Sassy's eating the pillow. It was a tough time, and now the screen disappeared. Where are we?
Well, I made everybody leave.
No, you didn't make everybody leave. I moved the mouse and everything disappeared. We're back.
I'm going back.
So apparently there's a shooting going on in Philadelphia with somebody live streaming. It was not Dr. Brie Larson. It did turn out she was a woman. Yes. Actor says it was the engineer from STD. No, Jet Reno, I could at least tell, is supposed to be a woman. This was very difficult. And Cronus says, thanks, Mama Pray. Sassy is starving. I'm calling PETA. She is. So I'm going to sign off now. Thank you all for coming. Yosef, if you're still here, you're probably asleep. I'm going to go check out what you sent in Discord again. And tomorrow, Besiege. Hopefully, we'll get through some levels. Man, that level was a crazy one. Qapla, take care, and good night, or wherever you